The future of industry, it isn't coming, it's already here. It's automated, it's smart, and it is changing at a pace that's just incredible. So the big question for every educator out there is, how do we get our students ready? Not just to keep up, but to actually lead the way? Well, let's dive into how one organization is tackling that head on. This right here, this gets to the very heart of the Roots education philosophy. And honestly, it completely flips the script on how we usually think about learning. The idea is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's this. Students learn best when they are the ones doing the work, building the systems, solving real problems, and using the exact same tools they're going to see on day one of their careers. Okay, so this is the challenge we're all facing, right? There's this huge gap, a disconnect between the theory that students learn from a textbook and the actual hands-on, high-tech skills that modern industry is crying out for. And let's be clear, this isn't some problem for down the road. It is happening right now. So that leads to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? How do we build that bridge? Seriously, how do we make sure that when our students walk across that graduation stage, they're holding more than just a piece of paper? How do we give them a real, certified pathway into a high-paying, in-demand career? And this table just lays it out perfectly. It's like looking at two different worlds. On one side, you've got the old way, a lot of theory, very abstract. And on the other, you have the Roots method. It's all project-based, completely hands-on, using the real tools of the trade to solve actual problems. It's the difference between reading a book about how an engine works and actually getting your hands dirty and building one. So what you end up with is a completely different kind of workforce. This isn't just a small tweak to the old system. It's about replacing that passive sit-and-listen learning with active, roll-up-your-sleeves engagement. It empowers students to build, to program, and to troubleshoot really complex systems right from scratch. And they do this through something they call the three-dimensional method. Basically, it acknowledges a simple truth. It's not enough to just know how to write code for a robot. That's just one piece of the puzzle. Students learn the entire process, from programming the software to configuring the hardware and even physically installing it. They're not just learning one skill, they're learning the whole system. The whole thing really stands on three powerful pillars. First, it's built by students, which turns them into active, innovative problem solvers. Second, it's designed by educators, so you know the curriculum is solid and effective. But here's the kicker. It's also heavily influenced by industry. And that's the part that guarantees what students are learning is exactly what employers are desperate to hire. Okay, now we get to the really fun stuff, the actual hardware. And let me be really, really clear about this. We are not talking about simulations. We are not talking about toy robots. This is the real deal. Hands-on experience with industrial-grade equipment. The kind of stuff they will actually see out in the field. This right here is the Carroll 4.0 training system. Think of it as the launch pad for everything. It's like a complete, self-contained smart factory in a box. It's where students get their hands dirty for the first time with collaborative robots, automation systems, the whole shebang. They're learning programming, troubleshooting, and how it all fits together. And just look at what's packed in here. Students aren't just playing with a robot arm. No way. They're integrating a full 6-axis collaborative robot, a conveyor belt system, pneumatics, sensors, even the HMI, the touchscreen an operator would use to run the whole line. They're learning how every single piece of the puzzle connects. But it doesn't stop there, not even close. Once they've mastered the basics on the Carroll system, they get to scale up. And when I say scale up, I mean way up. They move on to building and running a full-blown, multi-station automated production line called the Temple Medallion Assembly System. And just listen to this workflow. This is a real start-to-finish manufacturing process. It starts with a 3D vision system that literally sees and picks a part out of a bin. A robot then zips it over to a CNC machine to be milled. From there, it goes to a quality inspection station. Then it's off to get laser engraved, and finally it's assembled, packed, and sorted. Students are mastering every single step of a modern production line. So what's the payoff for all this amazing hands-on training? Well, it leads to something very real and very tangible. And this, for me, is where it gets incredibly powerful, both for the students and for the schools. It all leads to real, measurable outcomes, industry-recognized certifications that just fling open the doors to amazing careers.
More than 12. That's the number of different industry-backed certifications a student can earn here. We're talking about over a dozen credentials they can slap right onto a resume that basically screams to an employer, hey, I know what I'm doing. I am ready to work day one.
And we're not talking about just any old certificates here. These are from the heavy hitters, the biggest names in the game. You've got credentials from SICK, who are giants in sensor technology, from Universal Robots, one of the pioneers of collaborative robots, from Vention, a leader in machine design. I mean, these are the gold standards.
So what does all this add up to? It means these certifications create a direct pipeline to a great career. Students aren't just graduating with a bunch of skills, they're graduating with a clear path to incredible, high-demand jobs like robotics technician, automation engineer, or mechatronics specialist. The very jobs that are building the future of manufacturing.
But hey, you don't have to just take my word for it. Let's hear what the educators who are actually in the classroom on the front lines using this stuff have to say about it. They're the ones building that next generation of innovators. First up, we've got Jacob Lasorsa from Suncoast Technical College. He talks about the flexibility, but he hits on what's so critical, that his students are getting to work with the exact kind of systems they're going to see out in the manufacturing industry. That real-world relevance, that's everything. And then there's Gil Burlew from Manatee Technical College, and he brings up another fantastic point. This whole approach isn't just effective, it's actually engaging. He says it makes learning easy, fun, and cost-effective. I mean, come on, that's the trifecta that every school administrator dreams of, right? It's a real gateway to the future for these kids. And I know what some of you might be thinking. This tech is amazing, but are my teachers ready for it? Well, of course. Having the best gear in the world means nothing if your team isn't confident. That's why Roots has a really comprehensive, on-site train-the-trainer program. They make absolutely sure every educator feels totally prepared and empowered to lead their students.
At the end of the day, this is about so much more than just adding a new piece of equipment to your lab. It's about joining a mission. It's about a partnership, one that's dedicated to building the workforce of tomorrow, starting right now.
So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. When you look at your current programs and you think about just how fast the world is changing, are your students really ready for the future of work? Are they truly prepared for what's next?